Microphone check. Okay. Peace to the peace, peace to the fam. Peace, 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 but peace to the fam. Peace to the famo. Peace to the peace, 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 peace to the fam. It's a quiet one. It's quiet. We're gonna get on our sticky in a second. You know, it's time to get live. Yo, that'd be a fire little clip intro, right? I need to find that. It's time to get live. You know, like for the beginning of the live stream. That'd be kind of hot. Live like a wire. I set the whole stage on fire. What we want to start up with?
That's the algorithm. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, you heard?
Faith and love, love and faith, believe, faith and love, love.
I like that.
Peace to the family. This is Abdul Ali, candidate for U.S. House District 12 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's just be real, folks. The Democrats have destroyed our major cities. Their policies have made us less safe, they've given us less economic opportunity, and they've provided less educational opportunities for our children. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I know what it takes to improve these issues. I've got great working relationships already in D.C. I've spent the last 10 years of my life building my political resume so that one of us, somebody who thinks like we do, could get into D.C. and make a difference. I want you to visit aliforcongress.com to find out more about my campaign. The Democrats have already done enough, and now they're putting illegal aliens in front of people like you and me, folks whose ancestors built this country and made it what it is today. So again, I'm asking you to support me in my run for U.S. House District 12 here in North Carolina. You don't have to live in North Carolina to support, because what happens in Congress affects the entire country. So again, it's aliforcongress.com. I hope to have your support. Peace and love, y'all.
Peace out there once again. Yo, you could tell a comedian is either bombing, nervous, or running out of material when they keep saying shit like, "Hey, I want y'all to give it up for yourself. The beautiful ladies in the house." So the fact that I keep saying peace to let you know it's a slow one this morning. No, but we're going to get it in. We're going to get it in. That's my middle name. That is my middle name. All right, so let me say this. I am done with the edits on the living proof. Yeah, the idea I had was a good idea. We tried it, you know, to have like a I don't know, maybe I'll tweak the idea and do it again, to have like an open book that we kind of go back and forth, and you know, it becomes an actual book. I kind of like the vibe of that, but my mind is probably not. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. It just got a little crazy. It got a little crazy where I was doing the update like every other day. So I'm done with the book. However the book looks is how it's gonna look. You know what I'm saying? It's 456 pages. The final edition. And the final edition just became available today. So if you ordered yesterday, the day before that, you do not have the final edition. Okay. If you ordered already and you're not, you'll be like me and have multiple copies. Right. So I do have 2 or 3 copies. Well, I still got stuff in the mail coming. Right. I wound up ordering books before I even got the last, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good question. Very respectable question. This guy right here. In fact, you'll see when we look at it when I ordered. Does it say when I ordered it? Yep, look at that. You purchased this edition on February 22nd. So literally, I ordered this morning when it became available. Yeah, I ordered mine this morning when it became available. That's a text from Osborne letting me know he just ordered his. Shout out to Osborne. I love you for that. I think I want to start with this because I was watching. I didn't have time to really catch the full joint, but it looked like it was pretty good. I just saw a couple little bits and pieces of Jabari having a debate the other day, and the debate was him and a gentleman were having a debate about, was Christianity stolen from Kemet or Egypt? And we kind of know the answer to that. Overall is a big, it's, of course, you know what I'm saying? But in a debate, the truth is not. Now, I don't know, you guys may not really understand debate, but in a debate, the truth is not what wins or loses a debate. That's not how it goes. The facts are not what wins or loses a debate. What wins and loses a debate is your charisma, your personality, how well you can stick to the rules of engagement while trying to get the other guy to lose his cool and not stick to the rules of engagement. A debate is very much like you know what? And this might be, I might lose some of my audience with this. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if you guys are familiar, but a debate is very much like a sumo fight, like a sumo wrestling fight, right? The object in the sumo wrestling fight is to push the other guy out of the circle. Right? That's the whole thing. It's not like to get him down, or like over here, you know, it's like you knock a person out, or you pin them to the ground, or you get them to tap, you know what I'm saying? But in the sumo, it's about, you know, getting the guy out of bounds, you know, pushing him out of bounds, you know. And I guess that's kind of in baseball with foul balls, kind of in football with out of bounds, but there's so much other things happening in baseball and football. Those are like marginal. Whereas in sumo, that is the sport. That is the sport, to get the push the other guy out of bounds. And that is largely what a debate is. You know, who can stay on their square, right? And we know a square and a circle, 360 degrees, along with a hexagon, right? Hexagon, squares, and circles. Hexagon is the secret circle, right? So, yeah. I said all that to say, this guy, if he didn't beat Jabari, he gave Jabari a good run for his money. I don't think Jabari was ready for the twist that homeboy put on him. You know, Jabari got the facts and the truth. But homeboy kept putting Jabari in the trick bag, right? He kept putting him in the trick bag by sticking to one line of questioning. And I don't think Jabari was really ready for it. More so, I don't think the audience was ready for him asking Jabari, was he speaking about imperial Christianity, middle stage Christianity, or the inception of Christianity? Now, if you ask me, that really didn't matter as much in terms of the substance of the conversation, but in terms of swaying the audience and dumbfounding Jabari and frustrating the hell out of Jabari, getting Jabari to go outside pushing Jabari out of the circle. Yeah. So definitely. All right, so this is where I want to start with. I might need to be able to take some notes myself. Just so that I don't lose my points. All right, so this is what I wanted to start with. I think this is really popular. This is probably more popular than anything else. Like t-shirts, clothes have been made with this. Like, this is a whole vibe. Right? Can y'all shit. So many conversations and debates have been over this. So I would love to deal with this. So we're going to deal with that in just a second.
Charles get more than that interview? Oh, Lord, that's crazy. I done got 40,000 for an interview. Damn.
We saving lives. We saving lives over here and you'll see like 500 people watch the video, or 1,000 people might watch the video. I might get like 3 or 4 cash apps. We gotta do better, family. I really need y'all help. You know what I'm saying, to keep the research going, but we're gonna work. Right? All right. So this right here is a motif that over the years this has been battled out ad nauseum. Ad nauseum. Look at this one. Right? What we got going on right here? You notice after a while they start hiding the boob, right? You notice they start hiding the boob after a while? You can't hide the boob. You hide the boob, you hide the science. Right? What else we got? Okay, now hold on. This one here, you gotta relax. Yo, I know people who did this. It was a lady in my building when I used to live on Gun Hill Road, right across the street from Montefiore. It was Gun Hill Road in Bainbridge. Her son was 6 years old, and she was still breastfeeding. People used to call the cops on her and everything. Yeah, that was wild. That was wild. But, I don't think that she was doing anything wrong. Well, I don't think that her goal, I don't think that she was trying to do anything wrong. It was poverty. You know what I'm saying? We was hungry. We was hungry. And she wasn't, she was asking us for help sometime. You know what I'm saying? So, free food sometime, she just goes too far. You know what I'm saying? Free food. Right? So let's take some notes down. Let's bust this thing wide open. If you don't have your book yet, you're going to need to take some notes. Let me see here what we got going on. The star of the show, hardworking Mr. Dynamite. So clap. All right. This is the divine revelation. This is the divine revelation right here. So we're going to start with Ra, right? That's going to be the sun. Well, actually, you know what? Scratch that. We're not going to start with Ra. My name is EnQi, right? The god of water. This all starts with water. So we're going to start with Noon. Noon. Right? Right? The living perpendicular. Right? We're going to start with Noon, the water, right? And right here, y'all going to see. Listen, as we don't went through this information, I want y'all to pay attention. This is where y'all see my frustration, hopefully. So hopefully y'all are learning. Hopefully y'all are, you know, buying the books. Clearly we're not hitting the Cash App. So I hope y'all are buying. Hit the Cash App. Like the video. Thumb up the video. Like, seriously, come on. Like the video, thumb up the video, subscribe to the channel. If you already subscribed, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Right? But hopefully over these classes, you've been seeing where my frustrations have been coming from. With people appropriating the science, right? And then not only appropriating the science, but what happens when Black people, brown people, and Latinos look to their Caucasian, European counterparts as the standard model of health, to be the standard model of health, and to be the reference point. Oh my God, that shit kills me. What are your references? Where are your references? What are your sources? Like, you niggas not get it? If the white man and the white woman are your source, then you are dead. You're dead. Hopefully, if you've been confused, I'm putting it in plain English for you. Black women, go and look up the lupus numbers. Black women lead the pack in lupus. Like, lupus is damn near getting to the point where it's almost exclusively a Black woman disease. Cancer, Black folks lead across the board every form of cancer. We're getting it more often, we're getting it younger, and we're dying from it faster. Diabetes, heart disease, like we're clocking out. And it starts here with the unwillingness to accept your own, the unwillingness to put your own on a pedestal and say, no, we look to him or her for our info. That is the source. So I don't know, I think that was the longest class of this HydroHemoPhotoPhysiology, right? Class number 1, almost 8 hours, where the National Library of Medicine put out an article. And the article is like boom, bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, boom, bam, bam, boom, bam, bam. It is a long ass article saying exactly what I just said. Black folks, your body completely different than ours. So yeah. We're no longer taking responsibility for you niggas dying. We put the information out. If you don't get it and act on it, that's not our problem. See, let me tell you guys how these things work. It's called confession. That's why they have confessionals in the churches. It's why they have confessionals in the churches, right? You confess your sins. So the article is one long confession. Black folks, your body totally different than ours. That nigga with the gold teeth is a genius. Prop him up, get him together, or you're done. So I get upset when you guys try to attribute the study of structured water to this guy or that guy, or you trying to follow Andrew Huberman or Gerald Pollack or Jack Cruz and all these people that's just swagger jackers. Not only do they steal my material, but they scour the internet. A lot of guys nowadays think researching is scouring the internet. So they scour the internet to see who's got information that their audience has never heard, and is it coming from a small page? That means jackpot. And when they find a page that has a lot of that, that's considered a gold mine. And they keep mining that page for information until, they've made videos or duplicates of all. They've remixed everything, and then they go on to keep looking and find whatever they can find. They literally have YouTube commercials out of guys selling programs to teach you how to do that. Stop wasting your time creating content. There's plenty of content out there. You can just find content that's already done and remix it and redo it and da, 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 da. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is the world we live in now. So anyway, we're gonna smack the electric universe shit out of the air. Okay. So the Electric Universe Thunderbolts project, that is Kemetic cosmology. Okay. So you have the waters anew, right? You have the chaotic waters anew, which is a reference to what? What is that a reference to? That would be a reference to the dark plasma, right? Not dark matter. A lot of these scholars, especially the black everything scholars, everything has to be black. They've been telling you that that's dark matter and dark energy, when clearly it's the waters of Nu. So it's not either of those things. Waters, plasma, right? From there, you get Ra, the sun. All right, hopefully y'all are taking notes. All right, from there you get Ra, the sun. And of course, we're going to go over this ad nauseum in the future, blah, 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 blah. But today is day one. We just kind of rolling this thing out for folks, all right? So I want you guys to get it and start to metabolize it, blah, blah, blah. Right? So here's your here's the cosmology. Now, if you want to know how long I have been teaching this to you, think back to a time when I wasn't teaching you about plasma and histones. Oh, wait, you can't. Yeah. So that's how long I've been, a lot of the stuff people are just learning. My dad was teaching me since I was like 0 years old. So my learning curve is different, right? So you got noon, N-U-N. Maybe I should type these into the chat. But my dad learned it all from his dad and masonry. Then you got Ra, the sun. All right. So you got noon. That is the cosmic background plasma. Right. Then you got Ra, the sun, your home star. And like all the other living beings, there's a triune nature or trinity aspect to Ra. Right. But here's the thing with later religions, they made the Trinity like special. Yeah, they made the Trinity special. Even Noon though has a Trinity. Like everybody has a Trinity. That was the whole Ka, the Ba, and the Ak or Aku, depending where you get your, But that's the whole thing. So when you start with Noon, that cosmic background, you dealing with what? What have I been saying for the longest? Electricity, magnetism, light, right? Okay. But with Noon, it's kind of dormant, right? So you got the 3 squiggly lines, right? Now, depending on what school you came through, you might have heard about the triple stage darkness. That's from Kemet, right? Okay. So then you got Ra, right? Ra, you got Ra, and then you got Kepler, and then you got Atum, right? Anyway, we're not going to go into all that, but so just for now, Noon, Ra, and then from Ra, you got Shu and who? Tefnut, right? So from Ra, from our home star, right? He ejaculates in some stories. Some stories he cries, right? Yeah, well, he releases discharges, right? So he gets emotionally worked up. He gets emotionally worked up, right? That's kind of what Kepler represents, right? The working up, right? But either way, he gets worked up, and then he releases Shu and Tefnut. So now, what is Shu and Tefnut? Shu is Dr. EnQi's favorite. Right? Shu is Dr. EnQi's favorite. Also, LeBron's favorite. I've been telling y'all for years. That pre-game ritual that LeBron does every single game is to Shu. Right? I even went as far as to give y'all a complete breakdown on how the NBA is Masonic. Right? Which is the reason why, at 38 years old, LeBron breaks the 38-year-old record of 38,000 points. Come on. That's divine mathematics, right? Divine mathematics is how the outer world relates to the inner world. The sublime mathematics is the inner world, right? So that's divine mathematics, because at 38 years old, LeBron breaks a 38-year-old record of 38,000 points. And how many ATP are produced from one molecule of glucose? Drum roll, please. 38, right? The numbers are always sitting right there out in the open, right? So, and how is the game played? If we go back to I think it was the Olmecs who started the rubber ball in the hoop kind of thing, right? The Olmecs had it, right? It looks like trying to get the ADP into the ATP synthase. You know what I'm saying? At least the Olmec version did. The newer version is, it looks, but anyway, where we at? All right. Come on now. Yeah. So anyway, so Ra releases Shu, which is the electric field, and Tefnut, which is plasma, right? So Ra releases electricity and plasma. And what do electricity and plasma do? Make planets, atmospheres, life, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh shit, Dr. EnQi, that is the whole basis of these guys with the electric universe theory. So, do I need to watch those videos? Or should I just go get a fresh copy of the pyramid text? So you niggas gonna get excited and go watch. I told you my dad used to deal heroin, right? So we learned as kids, you don't get the cut, you don't get the watered down, you don't want that shit that's stepped on. You can't do nothing with that. You can't do nothing with that, right? You got to go get the original. Let me show y'all something. Let me remind y'all something, man. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hove. H to the O-V. I think it's on here. Let's see. No, it's definitely on here. Right? Look, let me show y'all. This is what I'm saying. Cass was mad about this. Right? It's just how I was raised. You got to go to the source. You got to hit him with the Frank Lucas. You got to go to the source. You got to go to the source. Hold on. Yeah. You got to go over there. That's how the original Irish Mossers did it. Based on who? The god EnQi. Yeah. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I'm supposed to be doing in my life.
I was like, he just gonna be here and go in the mall. Because I was like, I keep hearing, you know, the basic shit. And I'm like, this motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
And then he just knows how to be a public relation type of motherfucker to shoot a video where he passing out money and doing all kind of, come on, man.
He learned from, like, he took all the smart shit that you guys did.
Fuck.
And you're right.
So-
in the heat of battle, he don't fucking miss. Back against the wall, he don't miss. And that motherfucker.
In the heat of battle.
So this is what I'm saying. You know, I just learned from little. You don't get the stepped on. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, right? So we got Shu and Tefnut. We got the electric field. And we got the plasma being released to design your solar system, right? What do you have going on inside your body, right? You have the cot, right? The cot is the carved out space. Listen to what I'm saying. The cot is the carved out space that your solar system will be created in. Right? What is soul? Self-organizing universal light. What is solar? Self-organizing universal light, attracting and repelling. Right? Let's do that again. Soul. Self-organizing universal light, solar, self-organizing universal light, attracting and repelling. You better order y'all Horus and Set book today. Right? So after Shu and Tefnut, now we got who? Right? From Shu and Tefnut, now we got So we got Shu and Tefnut. And then who we have? Geb and Nut. Right? So we got the electric field, and then we got the plasma being released. And then that electric field and the plasma go ahead and create your planet. Uh-oh. There we go. Here we go. But we got to put that capital on Nut, though. We got to put some respect on that name, right? So now we go from the electric field and the plasma being released from your home star, which is Ra, the sun, right? Now we have your planet forming and your magnetosphere, right? This is why Tefnut it then becomes Nut. Nut comes out of Tefnut. It's like the daughter that looked just like the mama. You know what I'm saying? Right? So your magnetosphere right? Your magnetosphere is what protects the planet and eventually creates the liquid water and this and that, because there's no liquid water yet. That's not a thing, right? So now you got your planet, your rough, it's rough. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing that in Kemet, it doesn't exist in the same way that we think about it today. Time doesn't exist, especially in regard to like cosmology and science. That's why the text says, I am yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I am yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's not, it doesn't exist in the same way. So it doesn't even make sense for us to deal with that. But we do have this book where we go into that concept in depth. Right? So now you got the planet, which is Geb, right? And then you got, now, this is why the concept of, this is why anthropomorphizing is important, because you're talking about qualities that are being passed on, right? So in the same way, in your sun, right, you see the electric activity. This is not disputed, whether you deal with electric theory of the universe or otherwise, it doesn't matter. We know that the sun is hydrogen acting a fool with the helium, and then, you know, lithium and boron, and, you know, whatever, right? So you still have the atom, the electrons, and blah, blah, blah. So just abstract thinking, painting the big picture here, right? We know that the electric nature of the sun is passed on through Shu, right? But keep in mind, an electric field can generate magnetic fields, right? We know that magnetic fields can generate electric fields, right? So Shu is, you know, the electric field, the electric nature of the sun. And then you clearly, we can all see with our eyes, the plasma aspect, right? So boom. And then the magnetosphere, right? The magnetosphere of the planet is magnetic plasma. So now you have the magnetic aspect of the star, your home star, as well as the plasma, right, in your magnetosphere. That creates the protective bubble that our planet sits in. Geb, your planet, your Earth, right? And this is where we got to get into the hidden aspect of geometry, right? So we all know that masonry is about geometry. We know that part. But a lot of people don't know that geometry has another meaning, has a hidden meaning, right? So we know geometry is the study of shapes. But the thing is, when we do the etymology, and we break it down, geo is Geb, right? That's Geb. Geo is the study of the earth, right? Geo is Geb still. Geb is still there. Geb is still there, right? The GE, that's Geb, right? And then metry is measure. So the hidden meaning of geometry is measuring the earth, right? So, and I think a lot of times in all these cosmology stories and all this, you know, gobbledygook that we got to swim through, people forget that all these sciences, no matter what science it is, it only makes sense when it applies to us. I hear so many guys trying to sound smart, like, oh yeah, the netters was just divine powers. And they'll start breaking down some shit about the sun, moon, and stars once again. And I'm like, yo, I'm not in that story. I'm not in that story. How does the Neteru, that ain't telling me shit, respectfully. And this is the reason why there are endless debates that goes on and it doesn't go anywhere, right? Because they don't really know what they're talking about. This comes down to biochemistry. And again, you see with your mind, not with your eyes. You hear with your mind, not with your eyes. So because you got Kemetic scholars, right? Like last night, I jumped on a panel real quick. Jabari was on there. Jabari knows a lot about Kemet, but the problem is he's devoted his life entirely to just that study. So if you sit some biochemistry in front of him disguised as something else, he can't see that. He's blind to that. He doesn't have it in his mind, so he can't see it. It doesn't register. And this is the same with Ashwa Kwesi and, you know, Brother Kaba and, you know, ad infinitum, Tony Brown, all these guys. You know what I'm saying? They don't know, right? So to say that the Neteru is cosmic powers is stupid if you don't know how the cosmic powers relate to you. The same thing with guys that relate inner mysteries to occult. Inner mysteries to occult practices. The reason why the inner mysteries got turned into occult stuff is because they lost the secrets. But literally, everything is sitting right there in front of you. It's inner mysteries. Inner mysteries. What are the inner mysteries? The inner mysteries is how the body works. The inner mysteries. Duh. You got to remember, we come from a time period where there was no microscopes and telescopes and electron microscopy and X-ray we didn't have none of that shit. So it was inner mysteries. We developed spiritual techniques. Listen to this. I need y'all to get this because niggas don't get this. We developed visualization techniques, deep meditative techniques. We even used entheogens and plants, aka drugs, for lack of a better term. You know, if people don't know what entheogens are, we use them to get to altered states of consciousness so that we could explore the inner mysteries inside. What's going on in the body? What is this thing making noise in our chest? How do we formulate thoughts and ideas? When I fall in love, what the hell is that? What is coming over me? How does it make smart men really dumb? You know what I'm saying? Like, we wanted to figure out those things, right? And so this is a part of the reason why we had to anthropomorphize these things, because the real life is what made us curious about the inner workings. So it didn't make sense to separate the two. Why would we separate real life, the thing that's making us curious enough to go on these crazy explorative journeys of altered states of consciousness and all that? Like, why would we separate that? That's dumb. That's Western thinking. That's not how we thought. You know, and now science is catching up with this breaking stuff down thing. Like, no, the parts of the whole is more than the individual part. You know how the saying goes. I don't know exactly what I'm saying, but I know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying too. The sum total of the parts are more than the individual parts themselves, basically, right? When you deal with the human body and you address a single part of the body, you can't totally heal the body. You got to deal with the whole body because the whole body works in synchronicity, right? Everything is working together. So, yeah. We about to get into some fly shit. That's why we gotta, niggas gotta relax. And smell the roses. You here with me today. The GOAT. This is a legendary video. Oh, I know it's legendary before we even finish it. Yeah, this is legendary shit right here. Yeah, so it's like being at the game when LeBron scored the 38,000 something, whatever. Or being at the dunk contest when Michael Jordan jumped from the free throw line. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you there. You know what I'm saying? You was there. You got to see it live. Right? So we got Ra, or we got the sun, electric field, plasma, earth, magnetosphere, right? Ra, we violated. We got noon, right? The cosmic background, right? Then you got Ra, then you got the electric field, plasma, then you got earth, you got the magnetosphere. The magnetosphere is two natures. You got the magnetic nature, and then you got the plasma. The earth is, like the man, a little bit more complex because you got iron at the core. So that means you have magnetism there, right? Then, because you have magnetism, you have electricity, right? Or you have the potential to create electricity, which is what happens soon as Geb and Tefnut has children, right? They have who? Shu and Nut. So the plasma creates water, and then the piece with the magnetic, right? Geb does what? What he's supposed to. Magnetic field creates the electric field, which is Shu, the god of the air, right? The electricity in the air. Anyway, but with Geb, your planet is not just iron. Your planet is also made out of like a hydrogen crystal. So even the frozen, like it's crystallized plasma, literally is called ringwoodite, right? And it's a magic kind of crystal. It's a magic crystal because inside this crystal, it allows hydrogen to move all around. Like this is some crazy shit that's going. Like that's why I stay excited. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how people will watch the soap operas. I be into the science shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's every time it's a cliffhanger. I'm like, damn, oh, like, I got to see the next, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then whatever I be studying or curious about, it haunts my dreams. You know what I'm saying? To the point where sometimes I can't even sleep. I gotta figure out some shit. You know what I'm saying? So Geb and Tefnut do the obvious. Geb, they have children, right? And the children are Shu and Nut, right? So now you have Nut being the atmosphere water, the regular water, H2O, right? Then you got Shu being the electric overall quality of the air, right? And so you can look at the early planet, right? And you can look at the story of like Shu being, you can look at it as Shu being like a mama's boy. Yeah, Shu is a mama's boy. You know what I'm saying? Sticking with his mom. You know what I'm saying? So he had to create some separation. Geb had to separate him. Geb had to separate him. You know what I'm saying? And put Shu to work. So that's why Shu is like, right? This is Shu right here. I ain't, I'm gonna leave it like that. That's Shu right there, right? And that's basically the creation, if you want to go to a creation story of your lodge, right? So now you have Shu, you have Nut. So now you have an atmosphere and all that. You have single cell organism, planet, blah, 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 blah. So now is where with Nut is the beginning, right? Because Nut is the water, right? H2O. So now you start to get into biochemistry, right? Now you're starting to get into biochemistry, right? So the first thing you need for life, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. See, this is why, come on, Jimmy. That's GOAT level right there, right? So now we start to get to biochemistry, right? So now we got Nut, water, and then we got, okay, so let's just go to the children, right? We're going to go to the children. So so Shu and Nut have 4 children, right? Those children are going to be, or the earth and the atmosphere, the earth, the sky, the atmosphere, your nature. You get 4 children from there. You got these guys. Who else? Osiris, Isis. Oh, Nephthys. Okay, so now you got right here. Now you got Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys. I want to give it to you like that. Right? You got Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys. I'll write it out for you. Now that you've seen it like that, now I can do it like this. Oh, shit. Hold up. Yeah, see, y'all don't like me reminding y'all that Charleston White get 40,000. I'm like, yo, I'm reviving 5,000-year-old science. Can I get 3 Cash Apps for a video? That nigga cussing out Hassan Campbell. He get $40,000 to cuss out Hassan Campbell. I'd be tempted to just stop this shit and cuss out Hassan Campbell too. You know how many niggas created whole careers by just cussing out Hassan Campbell? That's literally the cheat code on the internet. Cuss out Hassan Campbell. And who created Hassan Campbell? Sa. Right? Say what you want about Sa. Sa has created incomes for a lot of people on the internet. And now he's trying to help us expand our message and do the right thing. So instead of the craziness, you got to give him props for that. Right? So I need y'all to absorb that moment. It's a long time studying. That's the crazy part about the internet. It might take you 30 years of studying to find out something, and you just typed it in 10 seconds. And so because it took you 10 seconds to type it, the people 10 seconds to see it, it has a 10-second value. Appreciate you, Sage. So this is the story, though. And it's taken me... I've been studying this science since I was like 8 years old. So I would say the better part... I'll be 47 this year, right? So that's like the master number, you know, the 47th problem of Euclid, you know. But yeah, I would say the better part of about 30 years. Because even when I was into the worst, you know, even when I was, you know, a non-contributing member to society, you know, hugging the block, you know, I always had a book in my back pocket, a book that nobody else could even understand. Because every so often, you know, like that looked interesting. You see a guy thugging as hard as you can imagine, rough looking Timberlands, army fatigue, like you like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I got, you know, every so often, you know, if it's quiet, I'll be there reading. You know what I'm saying? And I'm ready to fight about it. Because back in the days, when I say back in the days, I mean like 80s, 90s, reading was not really like cool, especially like the 80s. Reading wasn't cool. So if you was reading, you better be able to fight. Period. You had to be able to fight in order to read. Like that's a crazy concept for people to even imagine right now. But that was the universe in the 80s. That's why a lot of niggas is dumb, you know, and I'm proud not to be one of them. Yeah, because I like to read. I like to read nonfiction, and I'm with whatever, you know what I'm saying, before and after, you know what I'm saying. I might put hands on you right now, and then sit down and, you know, pick my welfare glasses up off the floor. You know what I'm saying? I had the brown welfare glasses. Let me pick up my brown welfare glasses, put them back on my big nose, my black big nose, my brown thick welfare glasses, and finish reading my book. And after a while, that was that. You know what I'm saying? It became known. Don't mention the book. Don't mention his nose, and don't mention his glasses. Make jokes about his mama. Make jokes about his daddy, his grandmama, his granddaddy, his teeth. Call him black, whatever. Leave them books alone. Leave that nose alone, and leave them glasses alone. He's going to want to fight, and he's going to throw the first punch. So he's not only going to want to fight, but he's going to initiate the fight. So yeah, it ain't going to be all that chest bumping and say it one more time and all that. He's going to throw the first punch. Yeah. So fast forward, see what I was doing? Like, it looked like pure chaos set, right? But it was really Horus, right? Because what I was doing was the ancestors sent me a skill set early. Yeah. Remember the back in the days, the warriors was also the priest kings. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I had to defend my quest for knowledge. Yeah, I had to defend my quest for knowledge. And now we're here. Now we here, right? And we couldn't have this full conversation without like, I can't really discuss to you what that means, the Isis breastfeeding Horus. Like, it doesn't fit. If you don't get this biochemistry part, then it doesn't make any sense, right? It's just a statue to argue over. Oh, is it the Kemetic had it first, or did the Christians had it first, or did the Christians make it up without looking at the Kemetic one? We made our own answers, or look. This is crazy, because some of these debates be sound like niggas arguing about who cheated off of whose test paper. And so you got the nerdy kid, which is the Kemetic, right? That's the nerdy kid. That's the kid with the answers. Then you got the athlete kid. He's a great athlete, but he dumb as shit, right? He always is cheating off of the Kemetic, off the nerdy kid. So that is like Greece and Rome type of. That's the Greco-Romans. They clearly, they came and occupied Kemet. So there's no confusion about where they got they. Right. That's why Remus and Romulus is on the breast of the great dog. Right. The great dog is Anubis. Right. So yeah, they know who suckled them, who took them out of the wild and gave them civilization. Right. So but then you got the arguments happening about, did the Christians directly cheat off of the Kemetic answers paper, the nerd kid, or did they cheat off the athlete who cheated off? Like, I'm like, wait, like, is that? I'm like, hold up. Is that what's really happening right now? Are niggas arguing about whether they cheated directly off the answer sheet, or if they cheated off somebody's answer sheet who cheated off the answer sheet? Like, what the fuck's happening right now? Yo, this is crazy. But that's because all of these things is based on the mystery systems, the mystery schools. And all of the mystery schools are based on the inner mysteries. Well, the inner mysteries is nothing else but biochemistry. That is the inner mysteries. right? If we're talking about the subtle energies and all that kind of shit, all that culminates in your ass being alive. The mind, body, and soul. That is it. That is what this all comes down to. Right? Yeah. And so what we're talking about with cosmologies is incomplete science. It's incomplete. It's like doing half your test paper. You got incomplete. Okay, you niggas told me about how the sun. Okay, we got it. So you got a story about how the cosmos formed and the sun and then the stars and the planet. You getting like a super incomplete on that, because the most important part of your test paper is blank. How did the sun, the moon, the stars, and all that formulate you? Now, why would you think that the people who were capable of building the pyramids would left that part out? What do you think they build the pyramids to communicate? See, once we plug these in, everything else is going to start making sense. How do we know? Because we're going to we're going to test it out right now. I'm just allowing y'all time to soak it in. Right? We're going to test it out right now. So, first things first, this completes the histones or the ogdode, right? Which is your Enid. So we already showed you how Shu and Tefnut became the thunderbolt science and all that. Remember, Shu is the god of lightning and thunder. So the Thunderbolts project is the study of Shu. It's over. Shu is my favorite. So that's your 9 right there. That's your 9 right there, right? You got Ra. I'm still a little sleepy. I'm trying to get the energy up. So that's why I got to recap, make sure we on target. You got Ra, then you got Shu and Tefnut, then you got Geb and Nut, right? And then Shu separates Geb and Nut, right? And then you got Osiris, Isis, Nephthys, and Set. So Ra, Shu, Tefnut. Shu and Tefnut give you your planet and your magnetosphere. That is nature right there. You know, and of course, Shu is super active. That's why Shu is my favorite, right? Because Shu is like the good grandpa. You know what I'm saying? Shu is like the active, healthy, in shape grandpa, right? Because that's Geb's father, but you know, he's still right there. When you see Geb, you see Shu. You get it? So that's how Geb gives birth to Shu again, even though Shu is his pops. Just for clarity. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Geb is known as the father of snakes, right? Because you got the electric, right? So they knew about electromagnetic waves. They knew about electromagnetic waves. That's why Geb is the father of snakes. That's why the magnetic field is the father of electric fields. Get it? The magnetic field creates electric fields. This is why Geb, iron, right? The magnetism in the earth, right? And that's your nature, that's your atmosphere. Right? But now you still got a wild planet, it's chaos, right? So now they give birth to these guys. And these guys right here is the builders. Along with Nut. Right? So the earth and the water, Nut, starts to create life. The earth and the water starts to create life. These are definitely binary pairs. These are definitely binary pairs. So you okay, so I forget which one is which, but you got Hermopolis and Heliopolis, right? That's where you get the two different teachings of the Ennead and the Ogdode, right? Both of them originates the number 9 mathematics, the replicative force of the number 9. So when Mark Rodin, Mark Rodin says that he got the vortex math from Tesla and all this other stuff. And again, you're like, oh, yo, look at this vortex math. Yo, Doc, look at this. You know, I guess about 10 years ago when it started becoming popular, I'm like, every time y'all be excited with these guys that's just popping up with some new rendition of yo shit, I be mad unexcited. Like, oh, yeah, you think Mark Rodin came up with that? You think Mark Rodin came up with that? Let me show you Mark Rodin then came up with that. Watch this. Before we even go any further, let me show you this vortex math. Let me show you this vortex math in a way that you haven't seen it. Let me show you this vortex math. And we go into this in the GOAT book. So if you got the GOAT book, you should have this. Not should have this, but I know it's a big book and people probably haven't really read it. Right? So let's start with this. Because this is another thing. I forgot the name of the damn video. It's called the Pleiades or the Plutons or something. But people was really excited about this when it came out because it shows the plasma science about how the plasma created the template for man and the universe and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yo, y'all are wild, bro. That is from that's ours, bro. That's like it ain't nothing out there. Like, yo, y'all gotta relax. The primer fields. That's the name of the video. The primer fields. Bang, bang. Y'all gotta relax thinking that it's some new thing out there that the Kemetic, like listen, them folks put them pyramids there for a reason, not only to communicate a message, but to let y'all know. We know that these other groups of people is getting ready to come in here and grab shit, flip shit. You know, the Arabs gonna steal shit like this. They made up algebra, even though it's algebra. Algebra, right? What is that? What's the communication of algebra? How about that? The communication of algebra, right, is that magnetism shapes the universe. I got to get a bomb over this motherfucker. Listen, I got to get a bomb over here, man. This is what I got.
It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, you heard?
Notice, instead of a bomb, we got Ra, right?
It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, you heard?
Every aspect. You just probably didn't even notice. Anyway, so the primer fields, right? It's just about Kepra. That's all. It's just about Kepra. That's all. It's just about Kepra. Right? But anyway, we over here on this math, right? So here's the whole science, right? Here's the science on the vortex math, right? So you start here with this number 1, right? This is how you line it up, right? You're dividing the universe by 9, right? Think about what I just said. You're dividing the universe by 9, right? That's Ra. The universe is noon, right? Nothing, none, right? So that's the universe. You divide it by 9, right? So you got Ra, then you got Shu and Tefnut, the electric field and the plasma, right? Then you got Shu and Tefnut, then you got Geb and Nut, right? The earth and its atmosphere, right? And then you start to get into the biochemistry. That's the next 4. That's the NH molecule, the H2O2 molecule, right? It's not water. I want y'all to make sure you understand. That's hydrogen peroxide. Set is hydrogen peroxide, right? So even in the early world, I don't want y'all to think hydrogen peroxide comes from the supermarket. Hydrogen peroxide comes from the interaction of oxygen and hydrogen, and you make that in your cells. So, big problem in the cells. Hold on. I'm gonna be mad if this is not important.
What is it? Yo, we gotta get out of that Illuminati mind state. But now I'm starting to really think like, what is it? Selling your soul is a really serious
thoughts
thing.
and emotions combine into a voice, an electromagnetic signature that articulates choice. Choice is distinction. Distinction is information. Life as we know it is organized information's incarnation to create more and store more. The alpha magma, codified in Kemet is the Falcon's plasma. Satan is a trick. Blatant as a dick. To be complacent in the shit makes you a patient that is sick. The truth is you are a true star. Your caterpillar construction cocoons a new star. The real definition of selling your soul first is trading, becoming stellar for a star on earth. Second, you help block creation, illumination, separating information, billions of years in accumulation. Blindly, nigga, we couldn't be more stupid. Sound becomes light. Life is raw music.
What is electromagnetic wave?
The etymology of photography is the right with light. Big Willie, well I am, type of height, get it? Do you understand what footage is? Skin on tree trunks with visual acoustics is. What it mean to own your image and likeness exclusivist? That's your light, clueless kid in a ruthless biz. The image is your soul, the likeness best is your swag, and there's no fucking way I trade that for a bag. Your soul is electromagnetic fields. Your voice is the specific frequency it yields. Encoding your thoughts, encoding your emotion. When those waves collapse, the culture's your commotion, nigga. Keep your guns, your squeeze proper. Culture vultures is cowards and eavesdroppers.
The digital age, we clearly got it, labels. Sound becoming light is the periodic table. Example of that, Kanye as an independent artist having the #1 album and the labels fighting him down. Yo, epic. Anyway, so where was we at? The number 9, right? So Ra, Shu, Tefnut, Geb and Nut, and then we got the 4, right? The 4 right there, right? Now, the only difference between Hermopolis and Heliopolis is really the identification of the hidden one. So with the Ogdo, you have the 4 sets of twins, right? Or the 4 sets of sisters and brothers. And then their parent, their dad is, is like some Maury Povich shit is going on over there with the Ogdo. With the EnQi, it's Ra. So pretty much that's it. The stories are pretty much the same. Only thing is Ra is identified. He's not necessarily, he still has the hidden one aspect, which is kind of, the Atum thing, right? Atum, the tomb coming out of the tomb, right? But yeah, so the tomb is, obviously noon, Ra comes out of the, anyway. So that's the major difference with the Ogdode and the EnQi is the identification of dad, right? So with the Ogdode, who is the father? That's what they're trying to, who is the father, right? But with the EnQi, who's the father. Actually, you know what? There's still a little who is the father game because folks be trying to figure out the Kepra, Atum, or Ra. Like, no, it's 3 aspects of one. So anyway. You got your 9 right there. So that is where the 9 that divides up the universe, which is symbolized as a 360-degree circle. Right? The same way how astronomers divide the universe now into a 360-degree circle. Right? That came from and 3 plus 6 is 9. Right? 3 plus 6 plus 0 is 9. So a 360-degree circle divided by 9 gives you what? Come on. All this is divine mathematics. These are divine mathematics. Let me see who's awake. It's right there. I showed it to you. You just might not see the relevance yet. Look. When you divide 3 plus 6 plus 0, see, now this is not Mark Rodin math. This is Dr. EnQi math. This is divine mathematics. We're going into another level of it, right? We're going into another level of it. Because, see, when niggas steal your shit, they can only grab the surface level. That's why, when you watch a Brother Cracky or, the fake arch degree, the guy who's named the arch degree, that's not a Mason. Yo, the crazy thing is he only knows one guy that's an actual. Anyway. So look, 3 plus 6 plus 0 is 9, right? When we divide that circle, or not 360, but when we divide that circle, right? What do we get? We get that 11. Right? Some of these numbers you got to go outside the box. Right? You got to go outside the box. Right? So you're going to get that 11. Where does that 11 come from? Hold on. See, I didn't want to say that, but that's why my bad, Joe. I didn't want to say that just yet. Because then the EnQi is 40. Right? And we went through the 40. And Muhammad took 40 days to get the See, I didn't want to go there so fast. See, I'll be messing up the sequence of how I want to deliver this when I get excited. Anyway, now the cat's out of the bag. Fuck it. So the 9, right, which becomes the histones, right, the hidden one with the 4 sets of twins, right, the 9. But also you got to add in 2 more characters, and that's where it becomes the 11. Right? It's 2 more characters you got to add in. You got to add in Horus, right? And you got to add in Anubis. No, he don't have no arch degree. That's fake, bro. I told you these guys are frauds, bro. You think that's no? He don't have no degrees. Oh my God. He even got videos where he disses the Masons. I'm like, yo, your name is KT, the arch degree, and you dissing masonry, bro. You got cognitive dissonance. You got some other shit going on in your brain. But no, listen, I'm his teacher. It's like Star Wars. Luke, I'm your father. He run around telling people Sabi is his teacher. No, Sabi didn't teach melanin. Sabi said melanin is fake. That's number 1. And then he named himself after me, the guy that actually has the Royal Arch degree. Anyway, right? So look, you got to add in Horus. And then you got to add in Anubis. Whoop. Now the 9 becomes 11. You got to add in 2 more characters. And then the 9 becomes 11. Right? Now, it'll start making sense, right? Because you're 360. You got to do another little jump. Your 360 is what? The total. That is also considered 100%. So when you divide 360 by 9, you get 40, the number of EnQi. But when you divide the 100 by 9, right, you get the 11, right? So that's how we adding in Horus and Anubis, right? But we'll get to them in the later part there, right? But we're going to stick with this math for a second, right? When you look at the math, you immediately see 2 oblong squares immediately pop out, right? You see 2 oblong squares pop out. Hold on. Well, I'll just put it. Oh, bang. And if you look in the middle, the 3, 6, and the 9 form you a pyramid on top of those 2 coffins, right? So that's Isis and Osiris under the pyramid. Now, you had a guy that claimed to have been some type of psychic seer. And he's like, oh yeah, I can see that there are 2 coffins under the pyramid. Yes, they haven't discovered it, but there's spaces under the pyramid, and there are 2 tombs hidden under it. Yes, I can see it. No, he didn't. They just did the math. They just did the math. They just did the math, right? And we know what happened on that day of 9/11, right? On 9/11, what happened? 2 towers got exploded, 2 oblong squares, right? Look, let's go deeper in. Let's go deeper in. In the book, we discuss the number pi in terms of creation, right? In the book, we discuss pi in terms of creation. In the book, we discuss pi in terms of creation. I'm talking about not the Horus and Set book. Remember, the Horus and Set book is a backup to the GOAT book. It's the backup. It's the reference manual. It come with the turf. Shout out to the bros, right? But remember, the Bible is about math. It's a math book, right? So the first verse of the creation epic is 27 letters long, right? And then it ends with the 27th letter. So that way, if you're confused that there's a 27 letter thing that is trying to get you to recognize the number 27, after the first 27 letters, the 27th letter is the 28th letter. So that you know that the 27 is on purpose. It's like, no, we're going to double it up. Boop. 27. Oh, yeah. 27. Just so you, and I know some of y'all may be like, wait. There is not 27 letters in the Hebrew. Yeah. Later on, they added 5 extra letters, so it became 27. So there's that, right? But those 27, 5 of them are copies of other letters. So there's still only really 22 letters in the spoken language of Hebrew, right? The 5 Sophite letters are only in writing. That's it. They only exist in terms of writing. So when the Bible is saying that God spoke, right? The Bible, the Old Testament, is supposed to be Hebrew language. So that means that you have 22 letters, right? To channel the electromagnetic voice. Your voice is electromagnetic frequency. That's why everybody's voice is unique, right? So this big sound or big bang in terms of the Bible is somehow 20 is broken up into these 22, the 22 letters, right? And it's happening over a 7-day period. So 22 over 7 is the Egyptian fraction that approximates pi, right? It approaches pi. That's how they put it now. It's not equal to pi, but it approaches pi. So you have the Bible starting off with this mathematical equation, right? Now, here's the crazy thing. Listen to this. The Bible is telling you the same thing twice so you get it, right? So 22 over 7 is pi, right? Now, when you look at the digital number pi, right? 27 is a self-locating number in pi. What is a self-locating number? A self-locating number is a number that finds itself inside a number, right? So if we take pi, the full number pi, not 3.14, but the full number, and we count over, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, right? Or rather, I got to account for the decimal in the number 1. We start with number 1, rather, excuse me. 1, 2, 3. We start from the number 1. Duh. What an idiot. This is straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you count over 27 digits, and then there's the number 27. That is the same thing in the first verse of the Torah. You have 27 letters, and then there's the 27. So this is demonstrating to you the mathematics, right? Which is the part where people that are trying to argue over who's first or second kind of miss the importance of the math and the biochemistry that follows it, right? Now, if you lay two right angle triangles are produced by simply laying one plank of this oblong square on top of the other, right? So remember, we started with this, right? We went here, and now we're here, right? If you lay one oblong square on top of the other, if these are golden rectangles, then each of the triangles created will have the 27-degree angles, right? And remember, these are your, that triangle is your right angle. So you're laying oblong squares on top of each other to create two more squares, if you know what I'm saying, right? The Masons should know what I'm saying, right? And you have what? The manual, the hands, 27 bones apiece, right? So anyway, so that's the math there, right? We're going to leave it right there. We'll leave that there, right? So anyway, that's how you get this. So anyway, that's where that comes from. I don't want to get y'all. We don't want to go too far away from what we're talking about. Right? Yeah, because it all becomes gobbledygook if we don't know that this is actual biochemistry. It all becomes gobbledygook if we don't get this part. It's just empty stories that don't really have relevance. The only relevance is how people can monetize. Right? So remember, 40 was when Muhammad received the Quran. Your signal for Osiris, your alarm for Osiris, right? The melatonin lasts 40 minutes. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like EnQi's number 40. And where did EnQi live? EnQi lived in the water. Right? So anyway, all right. So far we got the 9. We dealt with the 9 and the math and all that. And we know that you multiply 9 times 9 any kind of way, the 9 comes out of the thing and blah, 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 blah. Right? So the replicative power of the 9, right? That's what math is based around, at least, especially when you get into that 9, the replicative power of the number 9. Mathematicians love the number 9. They love to teach it as a shortcut to understand math and all that. But again, what do I say? If it doesn't apply to the body, it doesn't make sense. Right? So this was the disconnect between me as a kid in love with science, but hating science class. Science class was mad boring. I'm like, Huh? Did I go home and, turn on channel 13, watch 3-2-1 Contact, shit like that, and get excited and then open up some books and some encyclopedias and figure out some shit, you know what I'm saying? And then get back to school. You know what I'm saying? So it got to apply to you. The replicative force is about the number 9. That is the histones. You have 4 twin sets of histones and the H1 histone, right? That is what your DNA is wound up around, right? 4 brothers and sisters, 4 sets of brothers and sisters, and the dad, the H1, right? The head nigga in charge, the HNRC, right? And that is your replicative force. Over and over and over, those histones are replicating life. Over and over and over and over and over. Now, as you know, the story is multiple levels to it. So what are we talking about? We're talking about magnetism, electricity, plasma, and then we're talking about key molecules that are replicating life over and over and over and over and over. Now, I feel like we got enough. Well, I'm here. Y'all got to buy the books, hit the Cash App, support Dr. EnQi. You know what I'm saying? We got to pass rules and laws, and, we got to get active in politics so we can get this into. Why do you think the politics part is important? We got to get this into school so we could learn this stuff in school, but then also we got to eat a certain way, right? We got to eat according to these things, right? So now let's get to what we needed to get to 2 hours ago. Now that we got all this info out the way, where is that picture? Now we get to go back to this. No, that's not it. Oh, yeah, that is it. Hold on. Let me get this out the way, though. Where are you? Bang. Here we go. All right. So now let's go back to this. Folks that made mad t-shirts out of this and all that. And don't know what they looking at. But they done got a lot of t-shirt and hoodie money off this. They got mad t-shirt and hoodie money. So let's plug in some info, right? So now what we're looking at is the creation of DNA. When you look at that picture, Isis feeding Horus, what you're looking at is the process for creating DNA, right? Isis not only represents the O2, but she also represents the biological structure, which is why she's on the throne. She represents the biological structure that produces the O2. So remember, the planet was inhabitable. Like we had single cells and a bunch of microbes and some stuff like that, but you could not get complex life to form until what? The first chlorophyll was made. When the first algae with chlorophyll was made, that started the chain reaction to the mass production of oxygen, right? That's Isis. That's why Isis, the wife of Osiris, that's your better half, your soul right there, your soulmate, right? That's why the perfect black is always pictured as green, and he's known as the green man, right? Because him and Isis together represent those pigments. Osiris represents the black pigment, melanin. Isis represents the green, right? Isis creates the oxygen. You cannot have, listen, you cannot have DNA until what happens? Until oxygen is fed to phosphorus. Listen, oxygen has to be fed to phosphorus to create what? Phosphates. Not only that, but you also have to have the creation of sugar. Plants create your oxygen and your sugar. This is Isis, Mother Netter. Mother Netter, the greens, the plants, is creating your oxygen and your sugar. When the oxygen and the sugar is fed to the Horus, the phosphorus, you get what? You get the backbone for your DNA. Right? But where's the father? Where is the daddy? Where is the daddy? Well, the daddy, Osiris, represents what? NH, the NH family of molecules, right? So what is that? Those are your amines, right? Those are your amines, right? That's where you get the 4 nucleobases or the 5. You know, there's a substitution type of thing going on, right? So Isis, Horus, and Osiris makes up your DNA. Right? Let's go back over here to the share screen and let's pull up some DNA so we can look at it. Bam, this is a good one. This is a good picture right here. Okay, so now look, the backbone, right? The backbone, I keep saying that on purpose. The backbone, the Jed pillar, the backbone of your DNA is sugar and phosphate. Phosphate is phosphorus with oxygen. So Isis has to feed Horus oxygen and sugar to form this backbone of your DNA, the middle of which, your nucleobases, are made of what? The NH molecule, right? The NH molecule, along with a little Isis, she up in there. You know what I'm saying? This is their baby, right? But this is Osiris and Isis now. You see? I'm trying to show you this is all biochemistry. Now, why did God wait 4,000 years and deliver this information to me? Maybe just to challenge you niggas, right? Yeah. Maybe just to challenge y'all. Okay? You looking for one of them old niggas that's on Rock Newman's show, the senior citizen program, to tell you, oh yeah, I'm Tony Browder reporting live from my archaeology site in the pyramid, and I just discovered the papyrus that explains everything. That's not gonna happen. Right? Here you go, right here. This is it. This is it. Right? So that is what we're looking at when we're looking at that picture. When we're looking at the picture of Isis feeding Horus, we're looking at the creation of DNA. Now, use your brain. What better motif to describe the creation of DNA? What better picture? What better motif to put that science, to encode that science into, than literally a mother feeding her new baby. That's literally reproduction. Like, it can't be any plainer. Well, ammonias and amines and all that was discovered at the temple of Amun, right? Like, yo, this gets crazy. Or it doesn't get crazy, it gets sane. We living in a crazy world. So, and when you go against the norm, it's anyway. So now I feel like now that we did that, right now we could probably deal with the Horus and Set transaction. Right? That we've heard so many ignorant folks describe as a homosexual act. And the chakra gang, they always looking for a way to violate our young men. Oh yeah, you got a G spot up your anus, and when we activate that G spot up your anus, you're gonna have a spiritual, the Egyptian gods been doing it. No, this is Kemetic science right here. The G spot up your anus, this is from Kemetic science. No, I'm telling you, Horus and Set been doing it. Horus and Set ain't been doing it. You niggas don't stay in the studio long enough. See, these are my discoveries. That's why I'm the GOAT. So we're going to do the Horus and Set story, and then we're probably going to wrap it up. All right. So we good? Yeah, good. On Isis and the Mary and Jesus, the breastfeeding picture. Y'all Gucci over there. See, I told y'all that. Now, hold on. The process, hold on. Let's just add a little juice to it. I told y'all at least 10 years ago. No, it was more than 10 years ago. This was back when we were still in the National Black Theater. I told y'all that the Hebrew name made 0 sense until you added biochemistry to it. I even told y'all crossing over don't make sense because you're talking about a story that don't have no landmarks. And when asked, well, what do you think it is in biochemistry? I said, well, in biochemistry, crossing over is how DNA replicates itself. This is how cells duplicate. Oh, where would they get that from? Because they was in chemists studying this biochemistry, goofy niggas. This is why the Bible is about crossing over. Literally, listen, the whole Bible is about DNA replication. Maybe I should show that part real quick before we get out of here. Before we switch over to the Horus and Set transaction. The transaction. Let's go. Y'all got to remember, because I was showing y'all the little videos. Those of y'all that have been following me the longest, anyway, y'all remember. Right? I was literally showing y'all this. So maybe now it'll make more sense. Maybe now it'll make more sense after y'all start to get this in your mind that all of this been about biochemistry. Remember, this is about the inner mysteries The inner mysteries. I don't know how long we heard the term inner mysteries and never related the inner mysteries to the inner mysteries, like the mysteries of what's going on the inner part of us. Right? But that's that right there. I mean, bang. You don't even got to spend too much time on that. There you go. Go right there, and then there you are. Right? All right, so let's go. Let's get what Horus said. Right? See, look how simple. Wait, let me just show you how mad stuff is going to start falling into place for you. Anubis is nitric oxide. Think about this. Anubis guards the temple. Think about this now. If you look at your body as the temple, right? There's only one entrance into your body. One. There's only one entrance into your body. That's the nose. That's the nose. And I got a set of classic videos I did at Black and Nobel. Most of them got deleted. It might still be one or two floating on their channel. But I was doing virology 101, virology 102, virology 103. This is back in the early 2000s. And I was talking about nitric oxide is the way that you breathe. And when martial artists, you know, they're going through different like Qigong and Tai Chi and different breathing patterns, it is about the nitric oxide being able to move the oxygen into the deeper part of the lungs. So when they're talking about embryonic breathing and belly breathing and the lower dantian and all this other shit, that's biochemistry, bro. Right? Nitric oxide is what allows anyway. And that's what you need, your circulation. So when they show you the stuff when them niggas was trying to sell you Kangen water, Kangen machines for $5,000 and all that, and showing you the pictures of the blood clumping up together, getting rouleau, and I kept saying the Kangen machine is fake. Don't you dare buy that shit. Nitric oxide. Bodybuilders know this. Bodybuilders know this. They're like, oh yeah, you're taking nitric oxide powder. So what? So they could get more blood to go into the muscle. More oxygen into the muscle. That gives them more endurance. They can hit higher peaks, work out longer. But anyway, Anubis, nitric oxide, guards the entrance to the temple. Right? It's a big nose, you know, a nigga with a big nose had to break this down for you. Right? Okay. Horus said, all right, so the first thing we need to do is kill this whole sperm idea. Okay? So this is the biggest part of the whole Horus and Set thing. Now, I've been telling y'all that I love wild lettuce. Okay? Here is wild lettuce. Wild lettuce. If you've been listening to Dr. EnQi long enough, then you know I've been telling you about wild lettuce. Wild lettuce is what they used to celebrate the god men. And the Romans came in, you know, the Greco-Roman era. The wild lettuce was so powerful that they took it. They dug it up and took it back to Rome, planted it over there, and destroyed the crops in Kemet so they could have it over there. And that's how the regrown, you know, the remixed version became romaine lettuce. So to this day, you still prefer to get the romaine lettuce, but the wild lettuce is way different. It's still more potent and is used for a sexual tonic amongst other things. It's for a sexual tonic and for your respiration, right? But when you look at this, you're going to find out where the whole sperm thing came from. Look at this. Bang. Look at this. This is where the story what the sperm came from. So there's no gay thing to the story. So before we even get into the biochemistry of it, we got to deal with the sperm and the letters, right? There's no actual semen that came from an actual person. There's no actual semen that came from an actual person. We're going to say this again. There's no actual semen that came from an actual person. The semen in the story is the sap of the lettuce plant. So look at this again. This is where this comes from, right? It was giving you some herbology, some botany, right? That's what this is. Let's see if we can find some other look crazier looking ones. Look at this one. Maybe we should just say pause. Maybe we need to pause it up on. Maybe we should say pause on this. I know some of y'all still need to hear pause on this. Maybe we should say pause on this. Look at this one. Okay, so this is what this is about. Look at him. He you know, he jerking it. He going crazy over there. He going crazy with that thing. Yo, he going crazy with that thing. Right? I'm going to leave that right there for you. I'm going to leave that there for you for a second. All right? So there's no gay homosexual gods with no, that's not a thing. Okay? So that is not a thing. All right? Now let's get into some of this science. Right? And I'm trying to figure out how best to do this. I'll just do it the way I did it in the book. I'll just drop the keys on you. I'll drop the keys on you. And then you could plug and play these things into the story. Right? We could plug and play these things into the story. Right? So we begin with this, with the reminder that Horus is phosphorus. Right? Horus is phosphorus. Now, again, some of you may not be familiar with all of the things that the biochemistry entails. So again, like I said, this is a first thing, and we got to teach the world this. So it'll take a little while for it to settle in. Right? And Set is hydrogen peroxide. Correct. The sap of the actual lettuce is the sperm. So it wasn't nobody adding no extra. It wasn't no male sperm or semen going on. It was just the sap of the plant. Yeah, we're going to definitely pause it up. We're going to definitely pause it up. All right. So look, Horus is phosphorus. Set is hydrogen peroxide. Okay. Now, if you remember, when I used to do the classes and I used to travel all the time, I used to put up this. I used to put this up on the board. I used to write this up on the board before we go in as a reminder of what's going on in your body, right? Just like a basic overall overview, real quick, right? You got H2O, which is regular water. Then you got H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide that the cells make in cellular respiration. And then you got H2O3, which is structured water, right? So you got all three present inside the body. right? So just giving you some reminders, some clues to plug and play with this story, right? Now make sure y'all go get the book, because the book is going to give you much more than I could give you today in the class. Now, Set loses his vitality, aka hydrogen, to light, right? So it's explaining to you biochemistry within biochemistry. Horus represents the sunlight, right? And the sunlight breaks down hydrogen peroxide. The sunlight breaks down hydrogen peroxide, right? Particularly UV light, which is represented by the purple or the violet, however you want to do that. Right? We're working. Peroxide causes mitochondria to ejaculate cytochrome C. Cytochrome C is the main I, the main cytochrome in the electron transport chain. Why is that? Because cytochrome 1 and cytochrome 2 are not always used the same. So depending on the input, whether it's FAD or NAD, you might have a different, input for electrons, cytochrome 1 or cytochrome 2, right? But when you got too much peroxide building up, you're going to lose cytochrome C, and that's going to mutilate and destroy the mitochondria. So if you ever heard of apoptosis, senescent cells, and all of that, it starts right here with Horus and Set. Okay. Hold on. All right. Mitochondria, the body of Horus, or the bark, the boat, the ferry. So when you hear about the boats, well, we'll get to it. But anyway, mitochondria and melanosomes are always fighting against Set. You go Set chaos right now. One of these fucking watches, and I don't know which one it is. Right? Now, Set got a boat too. I forgot to add Set boat in there. But remember, I told you about Set's boat. Set's boat is called a peroxisome for peroxide. You literally got a mitochondria, just imagine a mitochondria, but instead of producing ATP, it produced peroxide. I kid you not. Can't make this shit up. I promise you, I can't make this up. No, but this ain't the bark of Ra. This is Horus's boat. Yeah, this is Horus's boat. The mitochondria is Horus' boat, and these guys right here is Set's boat. So the mitochondria is floating in your cell, making Horus, ATP, and these guys right here, peroxisomes, are floating in the cell, making peroxide, and they going at it. And the melanosomes is in there making melanin. So the melanosomes and the mitochondria, they different gangs, so to speak, but they works together, and they running down on, like it's wild shit going on in your cells. Yeah, it's wild shit going on in there. Right? But definitely that's a good analogy because people are more familiar with the bark of Ray. Now, think about what happens when Set and Horus win the battle. The golden disc appears on the forehead. Right? The golden disc appears on the forehead. Right? That golden disc represents what? The electrons going around the electron transport chain and also your third ventricle. Right? That's the light production that feeds the soul. Come on now. Set be bubbling in the cut. All right, so look. When Set wins, we lose our eyesight and go blind. Right? This is happening to people every day all around the world, but people may not know that it's peroxide that's the driver. Peroxide is the driver to all of these things, right? So remember, this story starts with the perfect black having fermented fruit sugar as his blood, right? The number one thing that happens with diabetes is Set starts to win, the H2O production. And not only the H2O, and his wife. Remember, I start telling y'all about hypercapnia. Hypercapnia is when you're producing more CO2 than you could get rid of, right? This is why when you get diabetes or pre-diabetes even, and you try to exercise, like you seem like totally exhausted after like 2 or 3 exercises, like your whole body feel drained. This is the reason why, because you got hypercapnia. You don't have enough oxygen to remove the CO2. And remember, we went through the whole process. I made sure we did all of the prerequisite biochemistry before we got to these stories. Remember, book 4 of the Red Book series, Melanin vs. Diabetes, book 4 is all about glucose metabolism and how the carbon chains break down and you remove the carbon and blah, 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 blah. So that's what happens. As cellular respiration from the electron transport chain, you produce peroxide and you produce carbon that has to be removed. The carbon has to be combined with 2 oxygens, O2, which you breathe in, to get rid of, to form CO2 so you could get rid of that. The H2O2 has to be broke back down into H2O and oxygen, right? That's why you have catalase, which is what melanosomes produce. So melanosomes not only produce melanin, but they produce another thing called catalase. So this is how melanin literally fights hydrogen peroxide all day. Your melanosomes are responsible for making catalase to break down the hydrogen peroxide and turn it back into water and oxygen. This is crazy shit that's going on up inside, you know what I'm saying? So Trust me. This is they can't do nothing with this. Niggas would love to debunk this, but they're not gonna be able to. All right. Number 8 is a little lengthy, so we're gonna do number 8 in 2 parts. But yeah, when you start building up too much peroxide in the eyes, all hell breaks loose there. In the brain, Alzheimer's, dementia, and all kinds of stuff. Your brain starts shrinking and all that stuff. That's the first thing to go wrong, is you start producing more hydrogen peroxide than you can break down, than the melanin can break down. And you're producing more CO2 than your breathing can get out of your body. And then all the inflammation and mucus and all of the other things that you might know of is stacked up on top of those processes somewhere. But the root cause, remember, we're supposed to be holistic doctors. We're supposed to get to the root cause. The root cause is written in those pyramid texts 5,000 years ago. Bro, this is why I'm the GOAT. Listen, every time I come with some shit, niggas be like, yo, this is why for years they be saying EnQi is pseudo. EnQi is pseudo. We never heard of NRF2 system. He must have made that up. We never heard of, plasma. He must have made that up. This is a new one for them to say. Oh, peroxide has an organelle that you got an organelle in your cells that just makes peroxide. It's just sitting in your cells making peroxide. He must have made that up. Right up until they go look this shit up. Oh, nigga. The doctor with the gold teeth. Listen, I told you I used to go to Temple, and all of the medical people, they with their notebooks out. When I come in the room, they got to go into student mode. Niggas got to relax. In my Nori voice, yo, they got to relax. But I definitely appreciate you pulling that up. You know what I'm saying? To get the instant verification on that. Right? All right. So number 8. Right? Just in case people don't know, right? Because some people will say it's impossible because they didn't know about cancer back then. Remember, Otto Warburg and a couple of his contemporaries, them niggas got Nobel Peace Prizes for saying exactly what I'm saying right now. Because this is what's going on when your cell goes into the fermentation cycle. This is what's going on. More H2O2, more peroxide is being produced, more carbon dioxide is being produced. And that's why the cell is so hungry. Listen, I'm giving you the root to the root, the shit the Nobel Peace Prize niggas don't know. Them niggas getting Nobel Peace Prizes for getting the shallow, the top, I'm going in and I'm gonna go hard. Yes. My nose is running because I got some shit going on. Anyway, my nose is running because it's time for me to I didn't switch my air filter. So today I got to go get an air filter for the house. Once the air quality in my house drop, Anubis lets me know, hey, you done missed one of them 3 month, every 3 months you're supposed to change it. And I ain't changed mine probably 5 or 6 months. I gotta go get that shit ASAP today. So my nose is running. Right. But remember, I just put this so that we know they can't say that they didn't know about cancer in ancient Egypt, because the first place cancer is documented in written history is Kemet. Not to mention that Imhotep gave you the blueprint. Imhotep is the first doctor, and he's also the first Mason. Yo, listen, I cannot make this shit up. Imhotep gave you the blueprint. He told you right there, his very existence is letting you know whether he's a real person or not. He's letting you know the motif is that the Mason is the master of the temple, so he's also the doctor. That's what Imhotep represents, the Mason doctor or the Dr. Mason. Yeah. So when you go read the Edwin Papyrus, just know that's attributed to the Mason doctor or the Dr. Mason or however you want to frame that. All right. So anyway, that's the first part. So we get some, I like to have names and dates and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We had the names and dates. So that's the second part. All right. So the pyramid text is where we get the first stories about Horus and Set, rough. Then they get a little bit more romantic and detailed, later on. Right? Now, Horus and Set are fighting for what? Horus and Set are fighting for what? The throne of Osiris. I told you what the throne of Osiris is, right? Osiris is buried in your chest. He's buried in a coffin, but we did the etymology on coffin. Coffin means chest. The land of the underworld is divided into 12 parts. Your heart is divided into 12 parts. The heart leads into the aorta. The aorta is the wa scepter. We did all this already, right? So Horus and Set are battling for the throne of Osiris, which is your heart. When Set wins, you have heart disease, and then your ass up out of here. Right? Where do you think the most ATP is used at in your body? It's in the heart. Right? Here's the other reason I like Imhotep so much is because Imhotep went from a regular person in the hood to a demigod to later on full god status with nothing but his knowledge of masonry. He went from poverty, he lived in the slums. And just with his knowledge of masonry, he was able to become a global phenomenon to live forever. So that X amount of thousands of years, we sitting here still talking about Imhotep. Just like Malcolm, just like many others. You know what I'm saying? That's the underdog story we love to hear. Imhotep is the template for that. So even the template for that underdog story, right? All right. We moving. Today's class might not be that long, but it might have the most information in it. Make sure y'all go get the book, The Horus and Set Transaction. It's on Amazon now. It's a lot more is in that book than just what we're doing today, right? All right, number 11. Horus and Set have a boat race. Horus and Set have a boat race. Right? Horus and Set have a boat race. That's the mitochondria versus the peroxisome. They're competing. The mitochondria and the peroxisome, they're competing. Right? This is all biochemistry. Now, watch how Horus play. Watch this. Watch how Horus play. Look. The boats were supposed to be stone. Now, we know stone, our body, you know, we use stone. It's minerals and elements, right? Mineral elements. Well, we say minerals, but it's really not minerals. Actually, because your body only uses atomic anyway. So we know stone, right? But Horus cheated. Horus cheated. He used wood. Wood is what? Fiber. Listen, Horus used fiber. Pay attention. Y'all, I swear to God, I can't make this shit up. Horus uses fiber covered with limestone. We know limestone is calcium. So Horus covers his fiber with calcium. Oh no, that's the only way to get the book. Sorry about that. All the books on Amazon. You got to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or uncle or auntie to buy the books for you. Yeah, just get somebody. If you don't use Amazon, wherever you at on earth, somebody you know uses Amazon. Have them buy the books and then bring it to your house. You don't even got to have it shipped. You can buy it and ship it to their house, and just you can have them bring it to you later on when they get the books. That ain't that hard. Nah, that's not even that hard of a deal. You know what I'm saying? Just have your neighbor or your sister or your cousin, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your daughter, your grandma, your auntie, somebody else get it for you. Right? But look at this boat race. Right? Now, what happened? What did Set do? What did Set do? Set cut off a mountaintop to make his boat. Right? Set cuts off a mountaintop to make his boat. Can't make this shit up. The pyramid has the missing capstone. Set cuts off a mountaintop to make his boat, right? Set cuts off a mountaintop. And we already talk about trepanation, right? Where they put a hole in the brain to get to the pineal gland, to get to the holy of holy, the hearts. Go read your GOAT book. Well, yeah, if you're missing some stuff, it'll fill in later. It'll make sense later, right? But anyway, Set cuts off the mountaintop to make his boat. So his boat is all stone. His boat is all limestone. He don't put no fiber to make it flip. His boat is all stone, right? So what does that mean? What does that mean? All right, we're going to break 14 into two parts. His boat sunk, right? His boat sunk. So that in biochemistry is telling you that when the cell, when the peroxide levels increase inside your cell, so does the calcium level. So this is how people that are dealing with diabetes also have the high blood pressure risk, right? And so this is how on some level people get relief by loading up on magnesium, because magnesium will help your body flush out the calcium to an extent. Right? So when H2O and peroxide levels increase, the cell gets flooded with calcium. The excess calcium puts the cell in an emergency state. Depending on the cell starts doing what it's doing. Now, if we're talking about diabetes, right? That means when your beta cells go into an emergency state because they get stuck with the on switch. Remember, you got to study your timetable. You got to memorize your timetable. Go and watch the timetable video over and over and over till you remember it. In the beta cell, calcium is the on switch, potassium is the off switch. When the peroxide starts to get high in the cell, the calcium floods the beta cell. When the calcium starts flooding the beta cell just keeps producing amylin, amyloid plaque on the brain, type 3 diabetes, hello, and it starts producing too much insulin. So now you're going to have an overload of insulin, creating the beginning stages of insulin resistance. This is the sublime mathematics. This is the sublime mathematics of GOAT EnQi arithmetic. That's what we're going to call this, GOAT EnQi arithmetic. You better get that in the shopping cart and get the Horus and Set joint in the shopping cart and then check out. Nah, I appreciate you. Right? So 15, we're going to look at it in two parts. So Set sinks and then magically turns into a hippopotamus, right? That hippopotamus captures Horus in his mouth, right? And then shakes Horus around for a minute. They struggle. The hippopotamus got Horus in his mouth and they struggle for a minute. And then Horus wins and he gets free of the hippopotamus mouth. Now, let me show you this thing in real time. Let's look at this. Let me see if I can find a good one. Let's see if I can find a good one that works clear. Because again, when you look at it, you're going to go, oh shit, that's crazy. It's right there. No, that's not a good one. Let's see if this is a good one. Yeah, they keep running these videos for us to donate money to the Palestinian people that's struggling. I don't remember none of these people like worrying about the black folks struggling. Just saying. You gotta mind your business sometime. All right. Look at this. You see that? That is the hippopotamus mouth that's capturing Horus and then struggling with Horus and then releasing Horus. So mind you, they just had the boat race. So Horus is tired. He's depleted. He's ADP. The hippopotamus catch him in the mouth, right? Excite the energy, right? And then release it as ATP, right? This is cytochrome 5, what they're explaining to you, right? So let's just catch this. Look. See, the ADP goes in the hippo mouth and then comes out ATP. Now, this is what they was giving you is the science. Oh, matter of fact, let's look at this. Let's see if they show the wall clock right here. At the bottom, you see it says FO complex. Remember, F is a 6. It's the 6th letter in the alphabet. So F0 is another 60, right? Your timetable. That's the F1 up top. But we want to see those protons. All right, so it's showing you how they build these dams off of that science there. All right, so we got it. We got it. Hey, because once you know the information, you know, it gets easier to explain. It don't sound like gobbledygook, right? So Set's boat sinks and then magically turn into the hippopotamus or cytochrome 5 that captures Horus in his mouth. They tussle for a minute. Horus wins, getting free. The hippopotamus is ATP synthase, or the tree of life, right? The branches of the ATPase pump captures ADB and then resurrected back to ATP. Right? How does the hippo represent cytochrome 5? I think I just showed it. Right? Now, hopefully this will help with the confusion, because some people ask this question when they, you know, or at least my children, I ain't even gonna say some people. They're like, Dad, how come Horus won the race and then he won the fight against the hippo, but then the gods said that it was a tie? It doesn't make any sense unless you know that this biochemistry, right? The reason why they called it a tie is because Set as the hippo, as cytochrome 5, is required to continuously recycle Horus into ATP. So because Horus needs Set, they said it was a tie. That's the reason why there's a tie in the story, because it's biochemistry. Right? All right. So I think that's it. I think we thoroughly covered the Horus and Set story. The Horus and Set story. Right? And now you know why, depending on what's going on with you, your doctor might give you what? Calcium channel blockers. The reason why they prescribing calcium channel blockers is because of the high amounts of peroxide that's opening up the channels of the cell to allow mad calcium in, and it's destroying the cell and whatever tissue that cell is a part of. So they give you calcium channel blockers primarily for like heart issues and stuff like that, but to stop the calcium. When the real issue is a melanin issue, right? Because if we get the melanin system right, then we'll have more catalase. Let's look at that real quick before we go, so we don't have no doubt about what I'm talking about. Right? So we don't even got to go too far. You know, look, I just typed in melanosomes produce catalase, right? And they violated me and did something else, but it's cool, it works. So again, it's not just a doctor with the gold teeth. It is the National Library of Medicine saying that what? In melanocytes, catalase is the main enzyme responsible for degrading hydrogen peroxide. Right? So when you're down-regulating your melanin system, starting in the brain with palm seed, then melanin concentrating hormone and melanin stimulating hormone, You have less catalase being, and then melanocytes are not the only cells that produce catalase, right? But melanocytes, remember, we already dealt with the language of melanocytes in regard to how melanocytes communicate to the other cells. So you got melanocytes all throughout the skin, right? One melanocyte for like every 40, 30, 40 keratinocytes or so. And then you got Langerhans cells spread out, right? And the Langerhans cells is kind of like, they holding it down with the melanocytes. They letting them know, this nigga's over here wilding. So the melanocytes can put out the word, you know what I'm saying, certain cytokines, and direct the traffic. Macrophages, T cells, blah, 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 blah. Right? So I know it was a lot today. And I know I gave the debunkers plenty of food to debunk. Y'all should be ready now. Y'all should be ready to go to y'all own page and expose Dr. EnQi. He's making up plenty of, whatever, pseudo, yeah. Expose. Because I need the exposure. Right? I need the exposure. Right? So before we go, we recap, right? You got the Isis and Horus breastfeeding motif showing the creation of DNA. And then we could take that in reverse even, right? Because remember, we talked about Isis feeding oxygen and sugar to Horus. So you get the backbone of the DNA, and then the amines, the nitrogen and hydrogen complexes becoming your, the rungs of the ladder, or the vertebrae inside the spine, if you want to use that analogy better, right? So that's Isis, Horus, and Osiris. There's the DNA. The entire family of 9 make up the histones that keep the DNA wounded up, right? Not to mention that the DNA has to sit in the water, right? All this has to happen in the backdrop of water, which is where the story starts with Nun, then Tefnut, then Nut, right? And you constantly have the interplay of electricity and magnetism, right? And then you get to your biochemistry, right? But if we want to go in reverse, right? How does Horus and Osiris come together to take care of Isis, right? The number one thing you need for the soil to become fertile is what? Ammonia phosphate. So when you combine Horus and Osiris in the soil, that makes the soil fertile for the plants to grow. Can't make this up. And this is why my mind be blown that I be getting 2 cash apps or 3 cash apps for this type of information. Meanwhile,
Charles to get more than that interview. Oh Lord, that's crazy. I done got 40,000 for an interview.
Damn.
I went to California last year. Right after the BET Awards, man. I was 40,000. Nigga, I did a 8-hour interview.
Faith and love.
Peace to the family. This is Abdul Ali, candidate for U.S. House District 12 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's just be real, folks. The Democrats have destroyed our major cities. Their policies have made us less safe. They've given us less economic opportunity, and they've provided less educational opportunities for our children. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I know what it takes to improve these issues. I've got great working relationships already in D.C. I've spent the last 10 years of my life building my political resume so that one of us, somebody who thinks like we do, could get into D.C. and make a difference. I want you to visit aliforcongress.com to find out more about my campaign. The Democrats have already done enough, and now they're putting illegal aliens in front of people like you and me, folks whose ancestors built this country and made it what it is today. So again, I'm asking you to support me in my run for U.S. House District 12 here in North Carolina. You don't have to live in North Carolina to support, because what happens in Congress affects the entire country.